Good evening and welcome into SHI Stadium. I don't know what that means, but we are here in Piscataway, New Jersey, and Ohio State looked a lot like Ohio State. 52-13, a Big Ten road win over Rutgers, an easy cover, a easy victory where a bunch of guys got to play in the second half, and Ohio State got to show a little mercy on Greg Schiano. I wasn't sure if they would, as aggressively as they came out and how simple it was looking offensively. CJ Stroud, hey, I don't know, told you so?
Yeah, I mean,
if he's healthy, he's pretty damn good. Missed 6 passes and then, so 6 incompletions and 5 touchdowns. That seems pretty good. Yeah. I know that there will be a lot of temptation out there to say it was only Rutgers, but the rest of this week was also about how they played Michigan within a touchdown last week, and it was going to be a tough test for them on the road. So one of those things, they can't both be true. I think this is a sign of progress for Ohio State. Will they play better teams than Rutgers? Of course they will. But offensively, defensively, special teams, coaching staff, and the quarterback, all of those people will take something encouraging out of this.
Well, because if you want to nitpick everything you can say, oh, it's Rutgers, oh, it's Akron, oh, it's Tulsa. But, the point is it's improvement, right? And that's SHI Stadium. Something happened. Improvement. Because that was tonight's goal. It was Ohio State had to come out from
something happened, improvement.
That's where we're going. Happened, okay. Improvement.
That's what it stands for.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so for Ohio State, it's about just making sure that they don't go out and play inconsistent bad football. I mean, and there's still going to be things to work on. You, as a team though, the defense has really realized that there are players that have to play, and that is Lathan Ransom, that is Cameron Martinez, that is Denzel Burke. That is Cameron Brown, the difference he makes. Sevyn Banks, aside from the first play pass interference penalty, played pretty well. I'm telling you, though, I watched Denzel Burke, and I'm like, even on a swing pass for the Rutgers picked up a first down over here, it was like a 3rd and 3, and he was out there in space, one-on-one with a wide receiver, and makes a tackle. And those are the little things that I think are just so important as this team keeps growing. Offense, CJ Stroud gives them the best chance to win because he sees the field the best of the current group of quarterbacks right now. That's not to say the other guys won't get there. That's not to say Kyle McCord doesn't have things he does better. But as a total player, it's clear that CJ Stroud, if healthy, is the best option.
That's a great rapid reaction, and it's brought to you by Byers Auto.
The whole thing. We're done.
It's all
right, we'll see you guys later.
That's really covered it. I would be remiss, though, if I didn't say on the road that Byers Auto was bringing this to you. Spencer, how do you follow up the way Berm summed it up so neatly there?
I guess by just praising CJ Stroud. This is a guy who I think it's pretty clear he heard the criticism. He blocks it out.
No, he didn't block it out.
You can say you block it out. You can say it doesn't matter what people say. You can say that we're a brotherhood in here and we don't care what people on the outside say. He cares.
He does.
And he noticed and he answered tonight. And again, you can say it's just Rutgers without the number 1 cornerback. It doesn't matter. That's a Big Ten football team on the field, and he eviscerated them through the air. This guy was on point. No high overthrows. I think he can kind of hang his hat on that now. You put those idiocies to bed. He can kind of just relax and be himself, and you can tell that not only is he much more comfortable on the field right now, he just seemed a little bit more comfortable in his skin, and the way he was playing and the confidence and the leadership, it's almost like he turned a new leaf with that week off. Yeah. And I think you're going to see a run now for CJ Stroud that is going to be pretty scary for everyone else.
Look, CJ Stroud hears the outside noise. Everyone hears it. You can't not hear it in the world of the internet, the world of social media. And what he said in the post-game press conference is important because it's also what he didn't say. He said he doesn't care about what people outside say. He does care about what people inside say, and I think it was very telling that he acknowledged that maybe he had a change of perspective while not playing last week, and it was not a surprise that Ryan Day's first thing he said about CJ Stroud was he might have had a moment to think about, do I want this? Do I want to be the quarterback at Ohio State? And there is, when you're dealing with freshman quarterbacks, Austin, you know this, we're talking about how do you show the team that you're the leader? It's not just about being the first guy to run out onto the field. It's about saying, yeah, my shoulder hurts, but if I'm playing, I better not use it as an excuse. Because if you're gonna sit out, fine. But if you're saying I'm the quarterback and I'm playing, then it can't be an excuse when something goes wrong.
Yeah, and I think, look, if you took off any of the logos on the field or a generic uniform on this team that Ohio State played tonight, it was a live game, and it was a conference opponent against a coach that knows Ohio State very well and clearly wanted to throw as much stuff as possible to try and get an upset. Greg Schiano will be as motivated as anybody to ever play Ohio State as he's trying to build this program here. But if you remove that from the equation, you just simply watched C.J. Stroud, the way he stepped into throws, the decision, the confidence that he made, the decisions that he, the way he approached the running game. And, he tried to, favor it maybe a little bit, not take a direct shot on it. That's fine. There's no problem with that.
No quarterback in the world should take a direct shot to your throwing arm.
But the decision making that he showed, the way he placed the football, it was all meaningful.
Tuck and run a couple times.
No matter who they played, tuck and run. They didn't all work. But again, this is his 4th career start. And so what you're talking about, Burnham, with a freshman playing, it's not even just about a freshman. Any first-time starting quarterback is going to go through this. How long did it take until we said, Dwayne Haskins was playing well, but now the way he talks to his teammates, the way he carries himself on the field, the swagger that he shows, that's what 6 weeks, we're like, okay, that guy gets what it means to be the starting quarterback at Ohio State. You can play really well, but to be the one that's going to take Ohio State to a national title and the pressure that comes with that, almost nobody is ready from that from day one. Ask JT Barrett, ask Cardale Jones. He had the smoothest maybe ride of anybody, but ask Justin Fields what it's like the first time you hit some adversity. It is hard to be the quarterback of the Buckeyes. You don't get a free pass like the quarterback here in Piscataway might for a bad game. Think about the 3 weeks that we've had to talk about C.J. Stroud since then and explain why he was the clear-cut guy when he was 100% healthy to be the quarterback. Look, if you don't want to think that it's over and done with because of tonight, because you don't think it's Rutgers, I'm not ever going to convince you otherwise. Tonight was the example of what was happening when C.J. Stroud was fully healthy.
We saw a first-string quarterback for another Big Ten East contender last week struggle to throw the ball against this Rutgers secondary. And then look what C.J. Stroud did tonight. I'll be the one to say, if C.J. Stroud plays like that tonight, the rest of the season, nobody will beat Ohio State.
Well,
he was as good as you can be against a team like Rutgers. I think back to the throw where he stumbled and found, was it Chris Olave?
Chris Olave, yeah.
For a touch, ended up being a touchdown. And Olave did a lot of that work, but to get the ball there.
He finished the work. The work, stumbling out, and he made a play with his feet, which is the thing you're talking about, not just
it's extending plays.
Extending a play. That has to be done in the offense. And it's fair to point out that he wasn't doing that in the first 3 weeks.
And if you take the number 7 off of that jersey and put a number 1 on there, you would probably say that looked like Justin Fields.
Oh, well,
just the way that he stayed on his feet, the way that he made the throw, the way that he delivered
strong gabagool.
But the first few weeks, first few weeks of the season, again, he was not doing that.
Sure.
And I think that not only shows the maturity, the progression of becoming the starting quarterback at Ohio State, not just in term, but in, flashes, is he has the confidence to make sure to keep his eyes down the field, to make sure to know where his receivers are, to know, yes, I can stay up, I don't have to eat this play and go on to the next one. I'm good enough where I can make those plays. That takes a lot of stones to do on the field. And for him to now be able to do that shows you the progression from week 1 at Minnesota to week 5 at Rutgers.
Ohio State is still light years more talented than anybody else in the conference. So what it takes to win the conference and not lose again is for a quarterback to emerge as the clear-cut runner. Because we've heard the adage over and over in football. If you have 2 starting quarterbacks, you have none. And tonight, C.J. Stroud should at least have put some of that conversation to bed. Now, the hard part is going out next week against Maryland, who's coming off of an ass beating on Friday night, that they're going to have some energy. They're going to have, they're going to need. They're sure going to try.
I'm not going to listen to this.
The goal here for C.J. Stroud has to be to stack those games on top of each other.
Let's not start talking about Mike Locksley yet.
That's the goal, right? It's about how do you get consistent, and there's plenty to talk about the quarterbacks. People have said C.J. Stroud won't run. Did you watch Kyle McCord, his scramble, or Jack Miller's? None of these guys are Justin Fields, okay? Yeah. None of them are comfortable running out of the pocket. All of them want to stand in the pocket and throw the ball. But we can stop talking about the quarterback.
Yeah, let's
right?
do that. Let's get into
let's
like last week. It's another rapid reaction now, starting now.
Okay, and go.
Now brought to you by Byers Auto. So just throw out names of some other guys who impressed you that took that step forward. I will start. This is perhaps not news, but Ronnie Hickman is a freaking beast
he's a
on
stud.
defense. If there is a tackle to be made near him, he is going to deliver it for the Buckeyes. If the play is going away from him, he's going to chase it down. The guy is playing with a tremendous amount of energy. If you had, I said this in Snap Judgments, if you had made a list in the preseason of the top 5, 10 candidates to be the defensive MVP for Ohio State, Ronnie Hickman would not have been mentioned at all.
Yeah.
I think the three of us collectively were expecting the bullet sort of position and that other safety spot to be a combination of Craig Young and Court Williams and who knew Lathan Ransom. Now obviously that was including Josh Proctor. So things have changed, and Ronnie Hickman, this was the most impressive one. I know there was a pick six a week ago, but this was...
And a dropped interception today. Boy, Ronnie was mad about that when it happened. He had the tipped ball up in the air, and he looked like he had it.
Yeah, he's around the football so much, and he deserves a ton of praise for what he's done.
There's a number of players who we could talk about, but to me, and I don't want to do this and make it sound...
Say Cameron Martinez.
I don't want to make it sound like we're putting down anyone else. Okay, so that's... Let me preface by saying that. Matt Barnes has made a major difference for Ohio State in the last few weeks. So whatever he's doing, it's working. Rutgers had the 75-yard touchdown pass to Aaron Cruikshank in the second quarter after Buckeye scored, first play of the drives. And I was walking from one end of the field to the other to cover the next play. And as soon as that play happened, Matt Barnes went and grabbed all 11 of his guys that were on the defense and said, "That's on me. That was a bad call. I made a mistake. This isn't on you guys." And that sort of, that's not something you hear all the time, but to hear him immediately do that, I thought was really important for a defense that could be at times teetering on the edge of confident and not confident. Sure. And I think that was really important. As a player, I continue to just be, as I said, Denzel Burke is really freaking good.
Yeah, he is.
Cody Simon played, again, very well. Tommy Eichenberg, he takes a lot of crap on our channels, played very well tonight. Overall, you didn't see a defensive lineman make a play the entire night. Rutgers was getting the ball out very quick.
Zach Harrison.
I guess Tyleek Williams. Tyleek Williams almost killed a quarterback again. Yeah. But other than that,
we're just gonna. That's a professional segue for you.
Yeah, exactly. But I am gonna. We've given Zach Harrison a little bit of beef or crap for.
Those are two very different things to give someone.
Okay. Not if you're eating in Nebraska.
Okay, so
Runza.
I was a little.
Hey, buddy.
Sponsored by Runza.
That's November 2nd, Berm.
Yeah,
my bad.
I was a little critical of him after the Oregon game. I think he was a little lost in run coverage. I think he was, most of the defensive ends just weren't home against Oregon, against even Tulsa. He played really well, and sometimes it just doesn't show up in the stat sheet for these defensive ends. I think this is one of those games, if I'm going to rewatch it, Zach Harrison's probably going to impress me again on the rewatch, even though it's not going to show up in the stat sheet.
Because the defensive end's job is to contain, and they did today.
And one of the interceptions was all Zach Harrison. It was not a terrible throw
it was
because
the Eichenberg interception.
Yeah, that ball got tipped.
And
that ball fluttered out of his hand.
Yeah. Yes, because Zach Harrison was all over his back. And he was about a quarter step slow getting there, or he would have demolished Noah Vedral. But the bottom line is he's starting to find himself. I think he's starting to play a little better. And when you have a five-star talent that starts to get a little bit of his confidence back, because I think some of that wind was taken out of his sail early in the season, you're going to see a better player as it develops. And it's a good reminder for people, not all five-stars develop the same. And not every five-star is on the same Chase Young-style trajectory. Those are unicorns. And this is a guy who's only going to continue to get better. And I thought he looked a lot better tonight.
Travion Henderson is still special. And
is he good?
Yeah, he really is. And according to Ryan Day, he could have come back in the game in the second half. That was a coach's decision. I know there was a lot of discussion about that, and we were trying to give you as much information as we could. They never specifically said concussion protocol or anything like that, but they took his helmet away, they put him in the tent. They told Ryan Day that he could have come back. Travion Henderson in the second half said no, there was no point to that. This game was over. This is kind of 2 weeks in a row where he just shows you what he can do with fewer than 10 carries, and that's another situation that could pay off later in the season, especially because Marcus Crowley played really well, and credit to Master Teague for handling some of those hard carries and finishing off some drives and first downs for Ohio State.
8 yards a carry for Marcus Crowley. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna talk about him a lot
Yeah.
next week, and the way this running back situation shakes out, because you're clearly have a number one, but you're starting to build some depth, and where you find that number two guy, that's a conversation for Marcus Crowley that now he can find himself in the middle of again. That will end rapid reaction though.
No, I got one more thought. I don't mean to do this,
Sure.
but I think I want to just say how good it was. And again, I have a unique vantage point sometimes in the game. Watching the Ohio State bench talk with Harry Miller before Harry was getting back into the game for the first time and going out on the field, there was the hugs. It was just a very cool moment to watch his teammates who have supported him in these last few weeks go out of their way to make him know that they were glad he was back. So whatever, I just think it's important. CJ talked about the brotherhood afterward, and I know it's so cliche, but there are those moments where you see it live and in action that I think are important to.
And I guess if we're doing one final thought, there are a lot of guys that can play on this offensive line, and it does not matter. They just maul people. Matt Jones, Paris Johnson, DeJuan Jones, Thayer Munford, Luke Whippler, Nicholas Petit-Frere, all of those guys.
Toby Wilson.
Anybody,
Toe
of those.
Mater.
They go about 10 people deep in that room. And
How deep is that? Exactly.
you can.
That is a conversation for another time.
That's pretty deep.
Another show, pretty deep. That's Spencer Holbrook and Jeremy Birmingham. I don't think I ever introduced him. I just got so excited to talk about 52-13 and a more relaxing evening of covering a game. I was thankful for that, if I'm going to be completely honest, and that's what we always strive to be at LettermenRow.com. 52-13, Ohio State wins on the road at Rutgers. They're heading home. They will play Maryland and Mike Loxley next week, and I think we'll probably have a lot to say about that as well. Thanks for joining us. You can get a subscription to Lettermen Row as part of the On3 Network right now for $10 for an entire year. It's a great deal, and you can also continue to watch us right here on YouTube. This is brought to you by Byers Auto. It's called Rapid Reaction. We will see you back in Columbus, Ohio.